It's like a little dive bar in a little surf town. They had this sweet hat, so I was like, all right, I gotta
Nice
buy
win.
Nice. I
that.
like it.
Christmas present to yourself.
Exactly. It was like $10. So I was like, can't go wrong.
That's awesome. There's probably some sweet little dive bars down in Florida by Dunedin that you might frequent with the with the staff.
Certainly, certainly.
Awesome. Welcome, people, coast to coast. You know what time it is. It's the Bushman. We got Bush Banter coming at you live. Second episode of 2024. We do have a special guest for you. I'm of course G in the house. I'll pass it over to a couple other Bushmen here. L, aka Big Easy, aka Ernie Els, with the fresh new set of Callaway clubs for his
Oh yeah.
birthday. He's been working it at the simulator. How you doing, and how's that swing looking, first of all?
The swing looks like a rusty gate, but with the new twigs, no one's gonna notice. And I'm here. Let's go.
All right, now passing it over to my bro Ray, aka Papa Bush. He's got his kid on the skates right now, but how's his 12-6 curve looking, Ray?
What's that?
How's his curveball looking, your kid?
Oh, you know the 12-6 is coming along. He's working on that leg. Oh, he's a little bit old school. He does a real high leg kick, but I like it. I like it.
I love it. I love it. He's in the house. And like I said, we do have
Sorry,
a
I'm on
special
daddy
guest
duty
for you.
tonight, so only coffee for me. Cheers.
Cheers.
I love it. I love it. Well, yeah, welcome. But yeah, we're gonna welcome in another special guest. Like I said, the pride of Philly. We call him Greener. We don't know what his nickname is in the room. He's entering his third season with your Leafs. He's a starter. He's out of the bullpen. Worked in McGill with his master's in management analytics. Also currently works with the Blue Jays as the senior pitching research specialist, which we want to get into about that. Sam Greene, are you in the house? What's up, my brother?
What's going on, guys? Thanks
Up
for having
there.
me. Happy to
Molly
be
Ring
here. And
Giant himself.
cheers. Now you guys are all over the nickname. Greener has been my baseball nickname for years, as long as I can remember. So
There we go. Awesome, awesome. Obviously, come from Canada, it's usually like a Y at the end or an
yeah.
ER or whatever, and you normally nail it. So that's good to know. But not from Canada. You born and raised in Philly. So why don't you tell us just like a little bit about yourself? Obviously born in the States. I don't know. Do you have siblings? Like I'd be really curious to learn about how you got involved with baseball.
Yeah. So do have a sibling, got a younger sister. She lives in New York right now. She's still in the States. Didn't want to come up to Canada with me, stayed down there with the rest of the family, but we'll leave them down there for now. Um, yeah, I grew up in Philly. My mom's actually French Canadian. She's from Quebec City, and my dad's from Jersey. So that's kind of the Canadian roots. So was born a Canadian citizen and came up here for school. Played ball in McGill, and then I got that job with the Jays. Moved here right after, and stumbled upon the Leafs kind of, and it's been a hell of a ride. It's been an awesome. Couldn't be happier with ending up there. So it's been
I
great.
feel like I feel like if you put Quebec City and New Jersey together, you probably do get Philadelphia as the end result.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's that's fair.
But yeah, growing up playing baseball in the States, like were you always a pitcher or like did you come into it later in life or
Yeah, I want to say in like high school is when I really started realizing I was going to be a pitcher, and I think it was a bit of a harsh awakening. I was actually telling this story to some people at work today, but when I was in high school, I was a good defender. I play second, I play shortstop, but I wasn't a very good hitter. And early in my high school days, they wouldn't DH for the pitcher, they'd DH for me, playing second base. So that's why I kind of realized it was time to maybe give up swinging and just kind of get into pitching full time. So yeah.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So did you like go straight from like Philly to McGill or were you already in Canada at that point?
Yeah, I went so like I said, growing up, played high school ball and travel ball in the Philly area. Was trying to, applying to colleges, doing the classic recruiting route that a lot of guys, Ontario do, all over the States do, want to go play college baseball. I wasn't that good coming out of high school, so I didn't have a ton of offers. And my mom had gone to McGill, and it was always kind of like a school that I wanted to go to. And Montreal's an awesome city and it's a lot cheaper than US schools. They just kind of made a lot of sense. And they had a good baseball team. So they had seen me at one of the college showcases in the Northeast, like in New York or something. And coach liked me and, invited me up to come play for the team there. It was just a perfect fit.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
What's that? What is that? What is that Canadian university baseball scene like? Like, I feel like it's got to be dominated by the teams at West if you ever get to those games.
Yeah. I wish it was a little more nationally linked. Like when I was at McGill, you had the Quebec teams and the Eastern provinces were in one league, called the CCBA, and then you had the OUA, obviously.
Yeah.
And there was mixing with the OUA. We come to Toronto and play the teams around here, like Laurier, U of T, Ryerson, TMU. We'd play those schools, and it was the OUA teams were good. There were some good teams out east, but the West was just too far. But UBC is definitely regarded as like the best baseball school in Canada. They play in the States, so I think they play in an American league, like in the NAIA or something.
Oh, like the junior colleges out there?
Yeah, something like that.
What's that bus ride like out to those East Coast teams?
Brutal. And we'd only go once a year. We'd do a 10-hour, 12-hour trip from Montreal, like Fredericton, and do a tournament out there like once a year. It was good. It was good bonding time with the team,
Well, you're in Fredericton.
That's awesome.
What's
That's
up?
awesome. So in McGill, like you got your master's of management analytics. So is that just like a math related, or is it specific to sports, or tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, no sports at all, just like business analytics type stuff. Really focusing on here's, learning about some stats, learning about data, modeling, all that boring stuff, and like applying it to businessy things. I always kind of wanted to do sports with it. Like that's why I went and did that program. And it was cool. Like you got to do kind of your own projects and stuff. And I try to mix in sports where I could. It was a tough course. It was during COVID too. It was the year long. It was from like 2020 to 2021. So I was just kind of stuck in my room, sitting at a computer for, 8-10 hours a day, grinding away at that, but got out of it and, happy I did it.
We won't check your Google search history during that stage in your life. But obviously on the McGill team, like the first couple of years, it looks like maybe you're just kind of getting spot duty, being a younger guy. You pitched, I think, 12 total innings in your first 2 years, but racked up 17 strikeouts. So you're doing something right. And then your third year, you really stepped up, and you had a hell of a year, right? The opponent 202 average, 32 innings pitched, 32 Ks, 6 starts. So what clicked for you that year?
Yeah. It's pretty fun. Like I said, I wasn't very good coming out of high school. I maybe threw like 79, 80 miles an hour. Kind of honestly barely made the McGill team my freshman year. And like you saw, like didn't pitch much, was kind of just hanging around and, last guy to the pen or kind of like a 6 starter every now and again, but not contributing a ton. We had a lot of good pitchers too, a lot of good talent. Then the summer between, I guess, that second and third year was when I really saw like a big velo spike. I started throwing closer to 90 miles an hour, showed up at camp, kind of surprised some people, I think. And I got thrust into that, 1-2 starter role and kind of rolled it from there on, third and fourth year. And no, it was a ton of fun. And we had a really good staff and a good team. We were successful. We won a shit ton of games, and no, it was a good time.
Nice. Yeah, in your fourth year, I don't know if you're enjoying, Montreal a little bit too much, or you're a little cocky after year 3, but a little bit of a dip in year 4. Like, what was going on? You were enjoying yourself. I can tell by your smile.
Come on, man. Saint Laurent, the party was
last year in Montreal.
You kind of nailed it there. I don't want to say I got cocky, but I definitely didn't work as hard the summer between second and third year as I did third and fourth year, which looking back I probably should have. But it's a running joke between me and my roommates were all on the baseball team too, and that fall of 2019 was quite the era. Like the fall of our senior year, like last year in Montreal, like we let loose a little bit. We had some fun.
Well, on this pod,
none of us at the time
successfully got university at the same university you went to. Another one I'm not sure if he graduated, but he definitely had a good time in Montreal at a different university. And L's just, doing his thing. He's just doing his thing. So
I went to
we're not all
college.
educational savants here.
Gee, I also only lasted 2 years at Concordia in Montreal. I also had a really good time there, and then
It's dangerous. It's dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah. So after McGill, right? It was a weird time, right? Obviously with COVID and everything, but it sounds like you kind of signed on with the Jays sort of right away, right? In 2020, and with that, stats and analytical background, how'd you end up sort of getting involved with the Jays?
Yeah, I mean, super lucky. Obviously, like I said, all throughout university, I was like, hey, I want to go work in baseball analytics. Like my undergrad was in stats too. Um, Hard to find a job at the end of 2020, especially in sports when everything was kind of shut down and unknown. So, a lot of teams hit me with rejection letters, including the Philadelphia Phillies, my hometown team. I wanted to go back and work there. And didn't get that job. So I was like, all right, I probably need to get better at some of this stuff. So I did a master's. It was a good time to do it. Like I said, not much going on in the world. And kind of like just reached out to people in the industry, got in touch with my current boss at the Jays now through LinkedIn, of all places. And, we connected. I guess he thought my background was interesting. That led to like an internship kind of right out of school and kind of been up from there. So yeah, just right place, right time, I guess, reaching out to people. And, they were, I don't know why they chose to bring me in, but they did, and it's worked out.
And it's worked out well for us too. We really appreciate fate bringing you to the Toronto Maple Leafs as well.
Yeah, that was the master plan all along. I think they were in cahoots with Damon Toppoli or something, and
That's so what exactly do you do on a day-to-day with the Jays? Like we want to talk obviously IBL Leafs, but like like what are you at the facility? Are you with like the staff? Are you with the players? Like tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so during this time of the year, we're at the Rogers Center. Like I spend the off season in Toronto, and it's a lot of just prep and getting ready for the upcoming year. Like, hey, how can this process look better than it did last year? How can we better, give this info to players? I work specifically more in like the player development side of things, so not as much in the free agency trade world, but a lot more of like, hey, how do we get our current players better through data? And part of that is having that playing experience too, like being able to understand like what guys are looking for and how to best give them that kind of information to get them to the next level. So it's a lot of that right now, and getting ready for camp and looking at, hey, maybe this guy wants to improve this a little more during spring. Maybe that's something we work on. And then during spring, it's on the field a lot, watching bullpens, playing catch with some of the guys, and talking to them and getting them ready for the year. And then in season, it's a lot of just putting out fires, I guess you could say. Like, hey, what's going on with this guy? What happened in his last start? How we get this next team out? Things like that. Big research component too. Like, hey, how do we better understand the game of baseball? And like, with all the data and resources we have, how can we gain a little bit of an edge over other teams? What are they looking at? What are we not? Things like that. So.
Are you guys looking at implementing more like AI technology into that, just helping you identify maybe like patterns in a guy's swing or throwing on rotation? He's starting to get tired. It's like they can pick up on that faster, or is it still more of an eye test and running the numbers?
There's a ton of tech now. Yeah, there's way more tech, and it's definitely growing. And there's a lot of numbers that helps with all that kind of stuff. And then video backs it up, and you got experts, guys that have been coaching for years, and you'll talk to them, and maybe they'll see something different than what the numbers say. And it's a really good back and forth. And yeah.
Wow,
that's cool. I was going to ask you, obviously, like you're a baseball player, but you're also in analytics, and the debate comes up all the time as the balance between going purely analytical or old school with just feel. And I know Ray like wanted to ask you like specifically, and the point I think he wanted to bring up is, with Jose Barrios last year in the playoffs, like
he just said he works with the up and comer guys. All right,
hey, look,
Greene.
He's been promoted to senior research assistant, so I definitely don't want to sewer the guy on it. So maybe like a grandiose like way, like the balance, and like where does that really, or like where does it really lie? And like, do you think it's it has to be a mix of both? Like I'd be real curious, like from someone with your experience.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to comment on that specific situation just because of
fair enough,
for a lot of reasons. But yeah, in a grandiose kind of theme, like I think there's a balance, and I think a lot of our players and coaches like understand that, and they're curious for info and they want as much info as possible. Like you gotta understand, like, and we try to understand this too. Like they're at the end of the day, they're the ones on the field, throwing the ball, hitting the ball, doing all that. So it's how can we best prep them to, be their best selves, whether it's how to attack a certain hitter or how to work, your curveball's not moving the way it should, or as it has in the past. Like you're feeling a difference there. So I think there's a great balance, but there's also the field piece of it, right? It's like, hey, I'm just not, they're human beings at the end of the day. Like I'm just there. Sometimes they're not feeling great. And we have performance staff for that. Our medical staff is amazing. Like it's a huge team effort, and everybody's just trying to do their best to try to win ball games. So yeah.
For sure.
So it was everyone's fault.
It was everyone's fault. Exactly.
From the field thing though, that takes me back to last year when Alvarado in that key game, pitched that complete game. I think it was pitched to like 135 or something at the end, and you were coming out to the pen or to the the mound to talk to him, and was that just to give him some air, like because it seemed like no matter what, we were keeping that guy in the game.
Yeah, the analytics in me is screaming like pull him, but I'm like, I'm going out, I'm talking to Willie, I'm like, this guy is just on one right now, and this is his game. And at that point, and you see that in big league playoffs too, right? Like you'll stretch guys out at that point of the year. I don't think we're doing that with him in a random July game and at the pits on a hot Sunday afternoon. But game 4 must win in the playoffs, and you're trying to save as many guys for the next day. You had a thin pitching staff. Like I'm going out there, I'm like, hey, as long as your arm's not falling off, this is your game. How you feel? He's an absolute dog out there, so he's not going to say he's like, yeah, I'm staying in, right? So, but no, it was pretty funny having to weigh those two things. I'm like, I don't want to get this guy hurt, and I'm also talking to Castaldo in between innings. Like he'd be mad if I didn't give him credit for some of the pitching decisions and everything. So Castaldo is a true vet and a true gritty baseball player. He's like, keep that guy in. Like that guy, that's our guy.
I'd like to get into that too, because you took on a lot of that role of kind of coaching near the end of the season. So when we get into the IBL stuff, I'd love to hear all about that as well, because that must have been a big step for you to kind of take on that responsibility for the guys.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of just happened. Like we've got some vets on that pitching staff, right? Like Nags and Richie, and I think kind of the nature of just their roles of being relievers, they couldn't do some of that stuff, right? Like they didn't, with me being on a more set schedule and hey, I'm starting this day, I'm not starting that day. Like the days I wasn't pitching, it's like, okay, well, we need someone to run the bullpen. We need someone to kind of help out there. And so I was more than happy to do that. And like I said, it was a team effort between me and Jordan. And, when Rob's there, it's his call, but he had some prior commitments and there were some games that he wasn't there. And he would like to lean on us too. Even when he was there, he'd like to ask for our opinion. He's a great manager, likes to listen to his players. So there's really a team effort, and yeah, felt like I had to just have someone go out there and walk out there. But I was more than happy to do it. It was a ton of fun, cool experience.
And it's a great thing to throw on the resume too. Managed a professional baseball team.
Exactly. Yeah.
And leading them to a championship 5 times.
Exactly. Yeah.
Was it tough going out to the mound? Like just on that note, you're their teammate, you're in the locker room with them all the time, but like when you have to go out to the mound to, maybe make a decision, was it tough to sort of make that distinction and communicate it to the boys, or they just knew, okay, here comes Greene, I'll go.
I mean, yeah, it depends on the guy. Like we got some competitors, and no, I mean, we have incredible chemistry. That's part of what makes this team special. And the core that's been around, the Mara brothers, Jordan, Salaz, Vinny, I'm probably, everybody that's been around the last few years, like it's a real tight group and there's a lot of trust and it's a lot of vets. So everybody kind of knows you're making decisions with the team's best interest in mind, and there's no like divas or no egos, right? But there's times where, and he'll probably be a little mad at me for telling this story too, but like Haji's out there, he's an absolute competitor. He doesn't want to come out of a game. And I'm like, dude, like you've thrown 100 pitches and it's your second time pitching in 5 years. Like like, we need you for the rest of the year. And he's like, all right, he comes out of the game. Like Justin's like, come on, Jesse, like, it's just time to come out. And then after the game, he's like, man, I don't know why you pulled me. I'm like, dude, he's like, how many pitches was I at? I was like, I think it was like 100, and we pulled it up. He's like 105. He's like, all right, yeah, you're right. Like, just, shit like that. Like, they get it in the moment, and I'm like, I'm the same way too. If Rob comes and gets me, and I feel like I want to keep going, I'm like, no, I'm staying in this game. But you gotta protect. What I learned is in my brief time as a manager is you gotta protect your players from themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
But honestly,
Yeah,
that was a
I did
brilliant.
notice you never went out to pull Dustin Richardson, so that makes a lot of
No.
sense that you
Absolutely not.
You just start walking out, he just turns like,
Yeah. I'm not winning that battle.
Yeah. Well, on the Leafs standpoint, obviously big changes with the team. New owners have come in. They want to try and breathe some new life into the team. And from what I understand, they have met with the players. So, like, what's your outlook for this year? How are you feeling about, new ownership and potentially, the new chapter for the Leafs? And obviously some boys already coming back. You just recently re-signed. Shohei Ohaji, Hodges, who you just mentioned, re-signed. Quite a few guys. So what are your thoughts on 2024 and some new life within ownership?
Yeah, I mean, extremely excited. We had a meeting with the new owners. They set up a Teams call to kind of introduce themselves to a lot of the players and ask for feedback, ask for questions on how we want the team run, and it'll be a lot of fun. I think they're going to bring a lot of energy to it. They're going to put a lot of effort into a lot of the fan side of things, making the player life a little easier. Really good things that'll kind of take this ball club forward. I think it's going to be a super fun season. I think we're going to be having most of the gang coming back and try to run it back, and maybe some new additions too. And with this ownership group, I'm super excited for what's ahead.
Yeah, they
Have you
actually
seen-
seem genuinely interested in the team, which is awesome.
Yeah, and it's a big group too. Like they had 5 or 6 people representing ownership on that call. Someone dealing with finances, someone dealing with uniforms, the head guy, people dealing with social media, the website. Like it's a real group team effort.
Yeah.
It would have been fun to see you guys be that group too, but
we're in the background, we're
involved.
quiet.
We're silently in the background.
Yeah, silently screaming from the
We
top.
got our fingers in a lot of different pies.
Yeah. They're like, meet Rick. This is the guy who's gonna buy a new tarp to put over the dugout. He's made his own tarp. No, but in all honesty, no, they seem great. And the Bush definitely wants to be involved. And you never know. We might be doing a little bit of work in the background, but about the team, I don't know, just like some stuff to jam on. Like who's the DJ in the room, or who actually puts on the best music and who puts on the worst music?
Oh man. Well, Danny Mara is definitely the main DJ. But we've got a rotating, like he's got his classic playlist that I feel like he plays most times. There's a lot of rap. DJ Nags will hop on the aux every now and again. It'll be a lot of house music. He's got his favorite songs. He was obsessed with that song Blue last year. That was a big hit with him. The Latin guys, they'll get on there and they'll play some Latin stuff for sure. Vinny, Willie, Valdez, Castro had interesting music taste. He'd hop on there every now and again, but no, it's a good mix. It's a mix of different backgrounds and everything, so you get a little bit of everything.
I feel like Castro's music is just him yelling random noises over and over again to like a steady drum beat.
It's a lot of yelling. Yeah.
Actually,
Just
to that,
motivational speeches.
We could never figure out what he was saying. He was just making noises, Angel Castro, when he was on the bench, like barking at the other team. It was literally just noises, right? He wasn't actually saying anything.
Yeah, if it was anything, it was, really fast spoken Spanish that I couldn't really pick up what exactly he was saying, but no, he was entertaining for sure.
That's awesome. What I put it down here. What was the toughest or like funniest, road trip moment? Like you guys do have jobs during the day, and we see Salazzo, our third baseman, leaving games at 10 p.m. so he can go work his midnight shift down at the rail lines. But like, what's an interesting kind of road trip story, or you potentially like we're gonna miss work the next day, or like, anything crazy like that?
Yeah, I mean, the one that pops into mind right away, this was actually last year, but a lot of the guys that live like downtown, because guys live all over, right? Like you got people living in Mississauga and North York, downtown. and there's like kind of carpool from different places, not to drive all the way for everybody. And like Nags, Staldo, we kind of carpool together. We live downtown, and Nags and I were driving to Welland last year. It was one of the first times I was new on the team last year. I was early in the year, and I didn't really know Chris that well. And we're driving, and we come out of the game. It's a late night Saturday night game in Welland, and his car's got a flat tire. We're like, geez, shit. We got 2.5 hours back to Toronto. We got a flat tire. We're in the middle of nowhere. It's like 11 o'clock in Welland. Like, how are we going to do this? So he pumps it up. We drive it back to his house on like a spare in like Mississauga. His parents are there. They're helping. They're changing the car and everything, or changing the tire. And we eventually make it back to Toronto, but it was an ordeal. I thought we were going to have to stay in Welland, and maybe some fishy stuff happened in the Welland parking lot there too. I don't really know, but
yeah, the tire just like mysteriously goes flat, outside of a certain location in Niagara. Like we won't speak of the name, but
no.
the boys had a few dances, let's just say.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little fishy. Yeah. Put it that way.
That's awesome. I got to do a shameless bush plug. Like, when did you first sort of like hear about the Bushmen? Was it before you joined the team, or you just suddenly show up in the pits and you're like, who the hell is up there on third base just screaming?
I think I'd heard of you guys, before I joined the team. I think when I was trying to join, I looked up the team's Instagram and everything, and I'm looking through the comments to see like what kind of, like what's going on here, and I see you guys pop up all over the place, and so I'm clicking on the link. I'm like, or on the Instagram username, I'm like, who are these guys? Like, there's super fans of this semi-pro indie ball team. I'm like, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That's accurate. Yeah.
That's the greatest thing ever. And then you get to the field and you see them, and you ask the guys, or you see you guys up there, and it's like, who are those guys? Oh, that's the Bushmen. They're big fans. They're here at every game, and they just have a good time. And it's nuts. It's the best fans in the league. Like no other team comes even close to that.
No,
they try,
but they just
try.
They don't quite understand the true art of it.
No,
like those London guys are just aggressive and annoying.
Yeah.
No comment again.
Oh,
On that note, what was the best like chant or like heckle like you heard, like whether you're in the game or on the bench and you're just like, oh.
From you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Rio stuff is great. The Congress and Rio, I know Rio's a trooper, and he likes you guys. So I'll let that one be my favorite one. But some of the political stuff.
What was it? Ward just
Ward 7, I think. Ward 6.
Down ballot candidate.
Yeah. That was good.
Well, I'd be on the mound sometimes hearing you guys. I'd just crack a little chuckle, stuff like that. But
that's awesome.
That's why we do it, Greener. We keep you in stitches, man. Baseball's fun. We want you to have a good time out there.
Make it super fun. Yeah.
That's jokes. This has been great, man. Like, this is awesome. Like, I don't know, I just had like a few quick hitters, if you will. For you, like, what was your most, or even like, managing the game or being in the game, your most sort of high pressure, tense moment that you can recall?
Yeah. I mean, for me, what jumps out is this year in Welland in game 1, coming in. I wasn't supposed to pitch that day. And actually, funny story, the night before, so my grandpa, he lives in Quebec City, and he's a young 80 years old, but he just got remarried, and it was this huge wedding on.
How was the bachelor party?
I was invited to the bachelor party, but I couldn't make it. It was in Quebec. It was during a work week, like I couldn't get out there. But it was on. So if we're playing game 1 in Welland on Saturday, it was on the Friday night, and I'd known leading up to it, I'm like, man, it's gonna be right there in the playoffs. It's gonna be tough, but I'm gonna go, right. So I booked my flight. I flew in the Friday morning. I had a flight back from Quebec City on Saturday morning at like 6 a.m. to make sure I'm back in Toronto on time for the game. And it was a big party. It was the whole family and everything. So we were up late, and I hop on this flight on a couple hours of sleep, and I'm not expecting to pitch that day, right? I was supposed to, kind of help manage that game and then maybe start game 3 or 4. But but that Willie diced that game, and it was, a tight one going into extras, and Dustin was going, and he had to come out. It's like, all right, well, we're trying to win this game. Like, I'm gonna have to pitch, and I'm on like 2 hours of sleep. But and it's
So
late. It's like
very David Wells-esque. You're still breathing out the beer fumes.
yeah. Shout out my grandpa for throwing a great party. But yeah, I get out there. It's like the 11th inning, and I just remember holding us there. It was a tie ball game and keeping the game alive. And then we scratched across a run in the top, and then going back out and closing that out and winning a huge game 1 on the road, and that was awesome. Another times I can think of is in the finals against London the year before, pitching in games 3 and 5 over there. Hostile road environments. So no, there's some probably top 5 baseball memory for me in my whole career in both of those games, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, London can be like a real tense atmosphere in the playoffs. Like we went to those games and it was like jam packed with like 5,000 people.
Yeah.
Everyone's barking. Yeah, I can't imagine what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
Ray had a real long ponytail during that game, and he was hearing it. There's just like 4 of us. We're swamped in, a bunch of probably drunk university kids. Like I didn't know if we were getting out of there alive, but I'm like, we're gonna be swinging. We're gonna be swinging the whole time.
Hell yeah. Yeah. No, both them and Welland. I mean, they put on great environments, and it's it's awesome for the league. Like it's super cool. It's pro ball environments, and it's the most people I've ever played in front of, and it's insane that it's part of this league. It's super cool.
Yeah, and it's super cool too that both the last 2 champions, we keep both of those teams on their toes for the whole season. So, I know that we're right there. We're ready to take that next step. And, every team's scared of the Leafs, and they know coming to the pits is hostile, and the boys are coming in hot anytime you guys are on the road. So I'm super excited for this year coming up. I love everything that's been coming out of the bullpen from all you guys and the whole team. And I mean, this year's going to be awesome. And I know we're going to really take it to them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we're a couple breaks away from having won back-to-back championships, and we're itching to get back there, and we've got
3 in a row. It would have been 3 in a row, right? Because if we beat Welland, we're winning that next series, no problem.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, you're right. And that speaks to just the core and the veteran leadership that we got in that locker room. Like those guys have been there, and they're just know how to win and turn it on at the right time. And I feel like we're just a couple pieces away, a little depth away, and we can really make a run at it. And I think could be this year for sure.
It will be this year. It will be this year. So to wrap it up, and again, Greener, like really thanks for your time, man. It's been long overdue. We want to get a prediction of you. Leafs record in 2024. Throw it out there. We'll hold you to it. You can if you say undefeated, you're a fraud, but we aim to be undefeated. We aim to be undefeated. Just throw a number out there.
We're gonna lose. We're gonna lose 2 games to Brantford. It happens every year.
Yes. Just happens. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say 42-0, but I guess I can't say that.
41-1.
41. 31-11 feels right this year.
I love it.
Ooh, I like it. That sounds like the top of the standings. That kind of run.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
But,
we're taking that.
Yeah, we've historically been not the best, average regular season team because we know how to, we'll say, load manage for the playoffs. But we understand the importance of seeding and home field, making teams come to the pit. So I think that'll be a little bit more of a emphasis this year and try to win a couple more games in the regular season.
Because our record at the
over
pit
the last 3 or 4 years, the home record of the Leafs has been extraordinary. You just gotta get a couple more on the road. We're gonna be there.
Yeah, and you guys are a huge part of that, right? Like that's the home field advantage. You gotta take credit for that. You can't.
Well,
we're looking to be 21-0. You can say 21-0 at home because we're gonna be bringing it all year. Of course,
we gotta throw some love. We gotta throw some love to the sun, though. You got to throw some love to the sun when it's 38 degrees in that like divot in the ground. You're standing on the mound. That plays into our favor. Those teams don't know how to play in the pits and that kind of heat.
No, they don't. They don't know the bounces like Benicio does. They don't know the mound like the pitchers do. They don't know the batter's box. Yeah, it's if you never played there, it's not fun for the first time.
I know P. Well, thanks again, Greener, man. This was awesome. Really looking forward to this year. You know, we're going to be bringing it. We know you're going to be bringing it. You're putting in that work. You're heading out to Dunedin to hang out with the Jays. You know, work on a couple things on your end, but I know you're going to be dialed in because you had a hell of a year last year, leading the team in strikeouts, and I know you're going to be killing it again this year. So thanks again from the bottom of our heart. Go Leafs, go. And
Leafs,
folks,
go.
we'll see you in a couple weeks for another Bush banter. Let's go.
Awesome.
Cheers,
Cheers, guys.
bro.
Thanks so much for
Thanks,
having me.
Greene. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. Looking forward to this year.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely, bro.
All right, guys.
Well, we'll see you guys soon, man.
Have fun at
All right.
Dunedin.
Yeah, enjoy Dunedin.
Thanks. Will do, guys.
All right, buddy.
See you later.
Later.
Peace.